Hi everybody. If you've been invited to MC a corporate event and you're thinking that it'll be the same as hosting your Aunt Mabel's retirement party, then think again. Today we're talking about some of the main differences between being a master of ceremonies for a professional versus a social gathering, and my one pro tip that'll make you always stand out in the audience's mind. So let's get right into it. Now, if you're new here, my name is Liz, and I love to talk about how you can use marketing strategies the right way to get maximum visibility in your first year of business. Now, when it comes down to the differences between emceeing a social event versus a professional event, trust me when I say that it is different, even though some of the parameters might be the same. If you are emceeing a retirement party, a graduation party, a wedding reception, all of those type of events have an idea behind it that they want to be leaving their audience with a very positive feel. They want to keep everything light, and you as the emcee's role is just to keep everybody comfortable and happy through that time. So of course, there are similar ideas with a professional event, but really with a professional event, you are meant to be the glue that keeps the schedule running on time and keeps things moving in a way that the audience does not feel any boredom and still maintains a sense of professionalism through the event. So there are some key differences that we're going to be talking about today, so let's get right into it. Now, usually at corporate events, there's a mix of two types of people there. One are the group of people that are actually involved with that company, meaning its own employees or people who are very, very tightly involved, like clients. The other group of people will be VIPs or influential members of the public who are there just as a special guest for the event. So for their benefit in particular, as an MC, the first thing that I would recommend you always do is do your research so that you can find notable information about the company. Every MC just kind of gives the usual blurb about, this is when the company started, this is what they do, and this is where they are now. Everybody knows all of that stuff. What you should be looking for is ideas about community involvement, the special relationship that that company has with the city, any special milestones that they may have celebrated, any recent happenings that might have been noteworthy or newsworthy. These are things that not everybody in the audience will actually know, and they will be highly impressed that you've been able to dig up this type of information that adds an extra light to the company that you are representing that day on stage. Now, the second thing that you should always do is to research in advance who is going to be in the audience so that you can keep your lingo and your vibe aligned with them. Remember to always speak in the terminology that is conducive to that audience. Consider what it is that they already know about the company and what is the jargonisms of this industry so that you can align with them while you are on stage as well. There's nothing worse than having a very, very professional and formal gathering while the MC is highly casual on the stage. There's always that mix match there, and then the audience does not connect the same way. So take some time to understand this well in advance, especially if you're not familiar with the company itself, so that you can stand on stage almost as if you are an extension of the people that are in the audience. Now, my third tip is to have a solid introduction and conclusion. All the time, I see MCs coming up on stage and giving a very brief blurb about themselves, asking everyone, hey, how's everyone doing tonight? And then just launching right into the program. We have heard this millions of times. So prepare your introduction in advance, something that will instantly create a connection between you and the audience, something that they might not know about you or your relationship to the actual company. And similarly, have a strong ending. Before you leave the stage and walk off into the sunset, make sure that your parting words to them really leave a positive image in their mind, and also give them an idea of how they can reach out to you later if they would like to continue to do business with you. Now, my fourth tip is not always possible, but it can be easier if you are somewhat familiar with the industry of that event. And that would be to add an extra line or personal comment about each of the sponsors that you are introducing. We've all been at events where we hear that the gold sponsor is ABC and today's platinum sponsor is XYZ, and that list just goes on. It doesn't really give any importance to any of the sponsors that are there. However, if you happen to already be working in that industry, or you have any personal connection or noteworthy information about any of those companies that are sponsoring that event that day, then go ahead and add an extra one line there when you are introducing them. That will make them feel really, really good that somebody has dug up some more information about them. And it also gives a little extra touch to them that the audience might not get otherwise. Now, my fifth tip for today is absolutely going to make a difference as to whether it leaves a poor taste in people's mouth having you on stage there. And that is to ensure that you have the correct pronunciation and title of the people that you will be inviting to the stage. That means that you need to review your program in advance, and if there's any areas of clarification that you need, or any uncommon names, or anyone who's missing a title, then call the event organizers in advance and get that information and practice it. Especially if you are inviting someone to the stage who might have a different type of a name. Imagine how amazing they will feel if you correctly pronounce their name, and it's also very respectful to that person. So research and practice this in advance so that that can go off without a hitch. Now, my sixth tip today is something that often trips up people when they are emceeing professional events. And that is that I encourage you to bring your authentic personality there. Just because it's a professional event and there might be a more formal vibe to it altogether, does not mean that you have to leave your personality at home and show up as somebody else. Show up as your true self, but remain aligned to what is the vibe of the audience and what is the intent behind the event altogether. Find that sweet spot so that people can actually see who you are, because you as a person need to resonate with them. And in particular, if you are a business owner, allow these people in the audience to see what it would be like to do business with you, which is only possible if you can show them what your authentic self is like. Now, if you're enjoying this video, make sure that you give it a like and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. And if you've been invited to MC a virtual event, many of the principles are the same. However, one of my most popular videos that I've ever made of all time is how to MC a virtual event. So make sure that you check that out here right after this video is done so that you can grab extra tips there. Now, my seventh tip can absolutely make or break your time as an MC, and that is ensure that you connect with the tech team before the event starts so that you can find out if they have any special requirements, and also so that you can give them any requests that you have in terms of technology that you want to use in particular. There might be times when you want a wireless mic or a clip-on mic or a headset, or you might want to use the slide screens behind you, or you might want to have a laptop in front of you. There could be anything. So they won't be able to know this unless you connect with them and test it out in advance. And make sure as an MC that in fact you have the phone number of somebody that's in the tech team. Because when you are sitting 500 meters away from them and you quickly have a requirement or a question to ask, you can quickly just send them a message even while the event is going on and just clarify anything, and then all of your tech can run smoothly from start to finish. Now, my eighth comment today is not really a tip, but more of a suggestion for your comfort, and that is, consider as an MC for a social event, we are often encouraged to ask the audience to take a seat during the performances, to keep their phones on silent, to minimize talking from the audience. These are all the common suggestions that we have to make to the audience. However, for a professional event, keep in mind that many of the audience members are there so that they can network and mingle and build contacts with each other. So as an MC, you absolutely do not have to be offended if you notice people during professional events getting up to leave their table and go to the back of the room to talk with somebody, or to leave and go take a phone call in the hallway. These are all typical things that happen at professional events. Of course, as an MC, if you're finding that the audience has become so loud that anyone who's giving a speech on stage is unable to get through, then that is your right to ask them to keep that noise to a minimum. However, watching your audience members mix and mingle even throughout the event in a professional event is very, very commonplace, and you could just let that go as a part of the actual event. Now, my ninth tip, which I would consider to be my most important one, is to remember that the MC is a complement to the actual event. You are there to keep the flow of the event moving, to keep everything going according to schedule, and to keep the audience members comfortable and aware of what is next. That is the role of the MC. You should never be dominating that event or feeling like you are the most important and smartest person in the room. Nor should you be plugging or promoting your own business or your own background in the meantime. Remember that the audience has come specifically and taken time out of their schedule to be there so that they can absorb the content of the actual event, not so that they can hear your long diatribe. So remember to keep everything focused on the actual speakers, the company that's promoting the event, and on the audience members themselves, and then you will just follow along in alignment with all of them. Now, I did promise you a pro tip that'll really stamp you as a professional MC in everyone's mind. Think about the last time when you've gone to an event and somebody came late and they walked right to the front of the venue and had a seat in one of the front chairs. Right away, all of us know that that person is probably a VIP or a specially invited guest or someone who is somewhat influential in that area. So this is the reason why they had the courage to show up late and still sit somewhere right at the front. This is a golden opportunity for you as an MC to quickly on the sidelines ask one of the event organizers, who is that person that just showed up, get their name and title, and then at your next opportune time when you are at the podium, to make sure that you just take 5 seconds to tell your audience that you'd like to take a second to acknowledge and welcome, Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so who has come here today from ABC Company. That person will be crazy impressed by you acknowledging them at that moment, and the audience will also have an opportunity to know that a special guest has arrived. The event organizers will never mind if you do this because, of course, if that person is specially invited, they will always feel wonderful that as a company, you were able to represent them by welcoming this special guest. Now, you and me both know that a good, solid MC can really amplify an event and make the audience go home at the end of it feeling like it was their time well spent. On the other hand, if you are not prepared as an MC or you are unwilling to go with the vibe of the audience, then usually what happens is that everyone sits there wondering, when will this be over and when can I leave? So do your best to research as much as you can before you ever get on stage for a professional event, and consider that this is a great way for you to get some exposure for your professional brand and for people to also see what it's like to work with you. If you're interested in this topic, make sure that you subscribe to this channel so that you never miss any of my other videos on public speaking for your business, video marketing, and how to use social media the right way. Make sure that you give it a like or share it with one of your friends who you think would be great on stage and they need to prep a little bit more before they become an MC. So until next time, take care.